The Morgan Report with David Morgan.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com for the week ending 17 March 2023, St. Patrick's Day. So hello to all the Irish, or Irish in spirit. So a couple things real quick. You're tired of me saying this, but number one is we added this health feature here. It's stuff that I really find useful. You can click it and there's only 3 things on there. I might add one more. All this stuff is what I use. And also consultations. The time has come where some of you out there might be wishing to buy metal in size, and you don't want to use the normal channels where the markup or the premiums are extremely high. If you are in a position where you have 50,000 or more U.S. equivalent to invest in the precious metals, it's probably worth a consultation because I can get you prices not at wholesale, but far less than retail. So between the wholesale price and the commonly known retail dealers that are all over the internet. Most of these guys are my friends. I don't want to say too much, but it's got to be in size. So there's the last time we had a problem with the banking system, nothing like it's occurring now, but going back to March 2020 when we got that real quick crash that was quickly papered over. I got several calls from people that had in excess of 250,000 in the bank, had never bought gold in their lives, and were concerned about how much exposure they had. They did a consultation. I set them up, and they're pretty happy. So I'll leave it at that. A little bit of an ad. I'll leave it there. So you've seen me say this before, but there's always new people watching these videos. So that's the landing page. You can give me your name and an email, get on our free list. If you click that I just did, and you scroll down just a little bit, you can listen to this or part of this, which is an interview I did with Daniela Cambone regarding bail-ins. Now, the bail-in situation with the Dodd-Frank bill is being circumvented right now. In fact, the words being used is it's a non-bailout bailout. So it's not a bailout, it's a non-bailout bailout. Regardless of the rhetoric coming from this Orwellian language, the rules are being changed before our eyes. And I'm not going to take a side, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying that they are. So right now, with these 3 bank failures and more on the way, it looks as if all depositors are going to be made whole. And you can make up your mind whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. The point being is we really don't know what the rules are. They are a sliding scale. And that's something to be aware of. But I am not going to rule out what I said in this video some time ago, that bail-ins are what is at law. And some of these banks may perform bail-ins. We don't know. We don't know what to believe. And I don't want to scare anyone. I just want to make sure that you understand that this is an unpredictable situation. And you're probably good to think through having $250,000 or less exposure in the banking system. So I've been thinking about doing this one for some time, and this is the kind of information that even the Rafi Farbers and others in the silver community probably take a look at. James Anderson comes to mind, and anybody that cares to, certainly. This, I think, is one of the better articles I've ever seen, personally, regarding silver and gold. And the article is, as you can see, named Gold Standard Equals Fiat in Disguise. Obviously, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It goes through a lot of the history of silver, starting with the pound sterling and Sir Isaac Newton and how the ratio is determined. And I've actually made a mistake. I said that Isaac Newton looked at the window and he saw it was 15-1, but actually when I reread this, my memory was not perfect. It's actually Parliament that set the standard at 15.2, but you can read that part. I just highlighted a few parts of this. Again, if you want to find this, just go Gold Standard Equals Fiat in Disguise. It will pop it up for you. So in the article, he starts talking about what even authors of the Encyclopedia of Banking and Finance do not seem to fully understand is that demonetization of silver alone was enough to put the British Empire on the road toward the fiat money regime. So his argument starts with, if you go to a monometallic standard, gold-only standard, there's nothing to measure it by. And he goes through that. I won't read it to you. It's pretty clear in the article. Once he makes that point, he says, we can have an honest money regime when gold is priced in silver and silver is priced in gold, physical silver and physical gold. But once gold is priced in printed pieces of paper instead of pieces of silver, the honest money regime is gone. Even though the formerly silver and now fiat units of account are defined in weight of gold, because there's no natural limit on the overall amount of printed pieces of paper as there was on an overall amount of pieces of silver. So when you go to gold only, gold standard equals fiat in disguise, you can print. And how much is a unit worth? Well, whatever you want to print, basically. So the other highlights, and I've got a few more. When the silver and gold standard is replaced with the gold standard, it is false to represent the new system as still an honest money regime. Despite all the appearances to the contrary, gold standard is already a fiat money regime. And he makes this argument, and you can read this if you're so inclined. And there's a lot here, too. He talks about a lot of history, talks about the Civil War in America, talks about what silver did in the Opium Wars. It's quite an article, actually, but I'm, again, just going to save you time and just point out what I think are the main points of the article regarding why you need a bimetallic standard to have an honest money system. So coming down here, because the bimetallic money was not only part of the American constitutional system, but a necessary part, effective restoration of this system must include a return to bimetallic money. This was the reason why the Alternative Future, a call for overnight revolution, proposes a gram of silver and a gram of gold as parallel monetary units. And he ends the article here. For as long as you price your gold in fiat dollars and not in silver, or you price your silver in fiat dollars and not gold, you are part of the problem. The only way to restore honest money is to elect the honest money president and honest money Congress. Everything else is vanity and vexation of spirit. To elect honest money president and honest money Congress is your birthright. The alternative of not doing it is to become a servant of the people who are buying America from under your feet using U.S. Treasury bills, notes, and bonds as untraceable currency. Anything that turns a spotlight away from the imperative to elect the honest money president and honest money Congress perpetuates your enslavement, no matter how honest, how true, how impressive, or how patronizing any such distraction may appear to be. The price of self-delusion is higher than you think. So I'll leave it there. I've wanted to do this for quite some time. Since everyone's talking about the banking failures, I've already given my thinking up to this point in time to our premium members. There's lots of information out there on the web, as you are all aware. I will just say that I don't think it's over. Is it a contagion? I believe it is. Others have said, no, it's not. The system is going to right itself and just make everybody whole, and the banks will take bonds at whatever duration, like 30-year bonds, and paying 2%, and they'll loan against the par amount. So in other words, they're not going to have to sell at a loss. And a lot's going on. And again, the best thing I could tell you is I don't think it's over. And the last thing I'll say is that the bank runs are usually a psychological event. Mathematically, we could have had a bank run at any time because of the nature of fractional reserve banking. And the reserve requirements at one point were zero, believe it or not. So you didn't have any reserve. You could change things by just changing the reserve requirement in the banking system. Regardless, I think we're in a mess. I think it's going to get worse. It's not the end of the world. And there's lots more to say about it, but I'll leave it there. This is David Morgan signing out with another weekly perspective.